Well, as the time of this recording, which is 10:28 in the evening, we are 1.5 hours away from not a complete lockdown, even though a lot of people are saying that this is like a complete lockdown with the fact that the mayor and the county official basically just told us this morning that we are going to go into a 3 week period where everybody cannot leave their house. That is technically true, but if you have to leave your house for some essential needs like going to the grocery or going to the post office or even going to the hospital if somebody in your family has the coronavirus situation, you can still do that. So that's why it's not really a total lockdown, but it is a lockdown, which means that I basically can't go anywhere for 21 days and I can't go anywhere until April 7, 2020. And I'll probably just stay in my house for most of the time, except if I really need to get some snack, I won't go to my local Target store, which is only a mile away. I'll just go to like the gas station, which is literally across the other side of the street. But yeah, doing this lockout, obviously there is definitely, or not really a lockout, but more like a lockdown that is. There's no sports that's going on in the Bay Area, and MLS obviously they are probably saying that it's not going to be just to April or mid-April when they are going to return the season, because the CDC just said that they are going to recommend people to, or recommend county official and local government to say that they are not going to allow people to have event gathering of more than 50 people, which means that most likely if MLS is going to take that as a recommendation, we won't be seeing MLS action until mid-May. So while there's no MLS action and there's no sports action whatsoever for the next couple of months, what I'm going to do on my channel, and I kind of mentioned this before, is that I'm going to do some recap video where I might be recapping in terms of previous MLS season. I might even go as back as the NASL days, or even talk about the recent Sports Hop series that I have done if I'm that desperate. I mean, it's kind of a little bit awkward of me kind of talking about the recent Sports Hop series episode when you can literally just go and watch, but there were a couple of very famous kind of Sports Hop series episode that I've done on my channel that I feel like I feel like I really need to do kind of a recap because it was just such a magical moment. And one of those, and I think this probably is going to be the first episode of the Sports Hop series episode recap, is not the first episode, but is the game where I always remember this was probably the best soccer match I've ever attended, where I think it was Dynamo versus AFC San Francisco Heart from a couple of years ago. That game ended 5-5, and it was a game that not only had 10 goals in it, but it was also a game where I think AFC San Francisco Heart came back 4 times after they were down in the game, and during the latter part of the game they actually went down to 9 men, and yet they were still able to come back twice in a game. I mean, that is something that you not every day you see a 10-goal thriller like that game where it ended 5-5, but it's not every day you see a team that can go down to 9 men in a game for the last, I think, 20 minutes of that game, and yet they still can come back twice during that game, despite the fact that they were down twice in the last 10 minutes of the game. So I'll probably maybe do a recap of that if I'm just so desperate and kind of run out of material to talk about MLS matches. And I'll probably even do some recap of some of the recent MLS matches that the MLS YouTube channel is posting. They've been posting some kind of past classic MLS match that has been in the last couple of years, so I might even do that. And if any MLS teams decided to do a live stream of a game that is either taking place this week or a game that is going to be taking place in the future, I will be gladly do a video about that and kind of do kind of a fun recap in terms of this simulation match and how, of course, it goes. I know today when I look on the MLS soccer website, they talk about all these resorts that was simulated, and I was kind of excited at first because I thought I was going to kind of do a review of all these games that was simulated during these last couple of days, but unfortunately they didn't put any footage of the simulator match, and they just literally put the report out of that. So it's a little bit of shame the fact that I wasn't able to kind of like see some of, at least they probably should have at least put some highlights of the simulating match, just like what they do in terms of doing it in real life. But yeah, I mean, it is going to be an interesting next couple of days of me just kind of doing a lot of recap video, because after all, there's really not much that I can talk about. I mean, the only thing I can really talk about in terms of current MOS status is some of the news that has happened, and I know on Wednesday I will do a news of the week. And speaking of news of the week, that news back on Saturday, I'm not quite sure if you guys have already noticed. Yeah, it's a joke. Those news in the future, I have no idea if that's going to happen, and most of them was kind of a little bit unrealistic, although there were some that was kind of a little bit realistic. And I thought about doing part 2 of the news of the week, but I kind of feel like I'm not going to, don't feel like I want to do it, because I have other videos that I have lined up for this week that I'm going to release on my channel. I know tomorrow I will do a video talk about the misery of the Quakes in terms of the winless streak that they have, because if you even go back to last year, the Quakes have not won a game in over 8 months now. The last time the Quakes actually won a game was against Orlando City back in August 31st, and that is going to be continue even to this day, and it's going to probably go all the way to May, since we're probably not going to have an MOS game until that point. So I'll talk about the losing streak of last year, and also talk about the winless streak and the misery of what is it like to be a Quakes fan at the end of the year, and also in the beginning of this year before everything shuts down. But either way, hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Like I said, you know, I'm just doing this video to give you kind of an update of what I'm going to do on my channel, and some of the videos I will do during this whole coronavirus situation. And as I said many times before, I hope this coronavirus situation will get under control. I mean, you know, for me, 21 days being at home is going to be very tough, and I'm one of those guys that do not like to go home, and especially after what happened 2 weeks ago when my desktop went kaboom, and now I can't really play games at all. I mean, if I still had my old desktop working, I would have at least done some videos and done some simulation match, just like what MOS is doing in terms of some of the games that they're simulating on FIFA 20. But since my desktop is no longer working, and I can't really do those kind of videos on my laptop, which is, my laptop is basically a work computer. It's not used for games, and that it's probably one of the slowest processor and one of the slowest GPU you will ever see in a laptop computer. So yeah, that's why I can't really run any games on my laptop computer, and that hence I cannot do any videos or even any streams of me playing FIFA 20 or playing any MOS game on FIFA 20. But either way, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I of course will see you guys next time. I'll see you guys tomorrow when I do the video talk about the misery of the Quakes having this winless run stretching back from last season.